Noob School. All right, well, welcome back to Noob School. This is episode 162. 162. We got a special guest, Jean-Michel Moreau, nuevo amigo.
Yeah, it's good to see you again, John.
Kind of a new friend. I mean, we've been talking for what, 6 months or so?
Couple months. Yeah, at least six.
Couple?
Yeah.
Couple?
Yeah.
Anyway, Jean-Michel and I met each other somewhere on the internet, and we liked each other, and we have a lot of common interest in technology and promoting software and selling and all that stuff. So I thought he'd be a great guest, even though he would not come down here from Toronto
I know.
to join me in Greenville. But hopefully we'll have a good conversation. And now he's got a great company called Rapid Product Growth, right?
Mm-hmm. Rapid product growth. That's right. Yeah.
And you also have a podcast of the same name?
Product growth stories is our podcast. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify. Yeah. Okay. And we talk to other, founders, other entrepreneurs who are scaling SaaS businesses and consulting businesses.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting to me anyway. I'm a big fan of names. I really like company names. And I mean, Rapid Product Growth. Who doesn't read that and say, I think I want to talk to this guy?
I hope so. That was the hope. Yeah.
Yeah. Rapid Product Growth. I mean, it's just so much better than XYZ systems or something. You're like, ugh.
Or leads PPC or something, right? Yeah.
It's funny because there's the company leads.com or something like that. It's like,
Sure.
Well, I get it. You do leads, but I don't just want any old leads. I want rapid product growth, right? That's what I'm looking for. It's not just leads. Leads can be a pain if there's just too many of them and they're no good.
Just give me the growth without the leads. What is that, upselling?
Just the growth.
Yeah.
I love it when people say, we just want to get good referrals. They're easier to sell. I'm like, well, good luck. I mean, I don't know how, you can just turn the referral lead meter up. But you probably have some tricks to that.
That's not my specialty. I've looked into that. It seems like just about everything in the business can be looked at from a sales lens. And I'm sure you can engineer a customer experience that's aiming for the exact moment you ask for a referral. Right. I'm sure there's companies that do that very well, and I'm sure that's the most profitable thing to do. It's just really hard to do that.
Yeah.
To get everything boiled down and nailed for your processes and
Yeah. Interesting. I suppose I do have a friend who's got a real nice business. He operates warehouses for other people, for big companies like Michelin and Pirelli. I mean, you got to be so good at that. And he does not believe in marketing or sales. He doesn't have a salesperson. He's like, we're just going to be so good at this that people are going to call us. And they do. But man,
these are the people I want as customers. This is exactly perfect.
Well, I mean, you could 10x his business, right?
I don't know, but those are the easiest wins to get. People with this attitude, it works. It definitely works. It's just that once you built that, okay, why don't we just get a little bit more attention? Because not everyone is going to learn about you from within this close, tight network of people that are super interested in what you're doing. And even more interesting is there's people out there, there's market demand in all these different areas. And a lot of the world that works in like referrals and sales, we are so focused on being experts in making great products and great businesses that we see the world through like the lens of delivery. Like I do this thing, but there's people you can help that have no idea what it is, the solution. They have no idea at all like how to get there. And they still want to spend money. They are spending money maybe with a competitor that isn't even as good as you. So these are one of my favorite ways to grow businesses is to start finding motivated, problem-aware people who don't understand the solution.
Right. Yeah, like I wouldn't understand how to run, a tire warehouse or something. They don't understand how to do Facebook ads or Google ads or whatever. Okay, so before we get into all that, we always want to do a little background. We want to understand kind of, you have a great business now. You live in Toronto. You help people grow their businesses using technology. But how did you get here? Where are you from, and how did you end up in the
Yeah,
Bay Area? What'd you do out there, and how'd you get home? All that
sure.
stuff.
Oh man, yeah, the whole gamut. So, well, I'm a big nerd, so I studied device physics in school, and I was really trying to find a exciting job where I could climb every weekend in Yosemite. So that was
Uh
my
huh.
number one number one goal, and I
Yeah.
found a nice startup in the Bay Area, and kind of cut my teeth there. Um, and then I went on to do like tech commercialization for a billion-dollar publicly traded company. So that means, we had a skunkworks in Switzerland. We had like a team of 30 different engineers, and we would try to find better ways to make new products. And I got the pleasure to take something like from an idea to global rollout, running all the P&Ls in all the entities to make sure it actually made money in all these different countries where we rolled it out. So that was a lot of fun and so much so much stress. Um, and yeah, had a chance to. After that, I really wanted to kind of scale back because the problems at billion-dollar companies are tiring. There's a lot of politics, managing like incentive mismatches between, this guy is going to fail if we succeed, and that's
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
headache that isn't just getting the thing done.
Right.
So I started working for smaller businesses, like uh, mid-market businesses, and really helping them grow. And that's really the sweet spot for me.
Good. Good. Yeah. I never had the pleasure of working for like a really big company like that. I can only, I guess I saw it because we sold to a lot of them,
Yeah,
but,
a lot of meetings. A
oh
lot of
boy.
meetings. Meetings, and
Yeah.
then and then you gotta fly to see each other too, and it's just a lot.
Yeah. Fly to Memphis for a meeting and then fly or whatever.
Yeah.
Did you were they, I don't I'm trying to think in my mind time wise, were people doing like a zillion online meetings at that time? Like were you just back to back with all these Zoom calls?
We were, which is kind of weird. It was I mean, at that time, at least we were, it was like pre-COVID and everything, but we had those like Cisco meeting rooms with those little
Yeah.
video phones.
Yeah.
And it would be funny because you'd fly to, like, maybe I'd fly from Switzerland to Canada or to Australia to meet someone in person. And then the rest of the day would be on like video calls with people in other countries, you know. So it's pretty funny how that would work out.
Yeah. 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 It is funny. It is it's nice and it's not nice that we're so used to these like just blocking our days with these calls.
Yeah.
I kind of liked going out and meeting people and like going to dinner with them and getting to know them a little bit instead of just an hour. And the other thing about that's bugging me about the Zoom calls now is the people who don't turn the camera on. It's like you're
Yeah.
like, you know,
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
like, how interested are you? Because I know darn well what you're doing with your cameras off. Because I'm doing the same thing. I'm doing something else, right?
That's right.
Listening out
Yeah.
of this ear.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are the worst. You just gotta ask them to turn, especially in sales. I mean, I'm sure you teach people that in your
Yeah,
in when you're helping them, but you could just tell them to turn it on. Like for
yeah,
this call, we need to have the cameras on. It
yeah,
tends to work.
yeah. Yeah, we were talking about that this general subject, maybe someone yesterday or the day before about signs that you know it's not going well. And one of them is
Yeah.
if you get, let's say, I once visited someone at Georgia Pacific headquarters. That's in Atlanta. It's like a
Yeah.
$7 billion largest paper or whatever they do, wood something, and I was kind of strong on my way into getting a meeting with like a VP in purchasing. It's like, I'm going to Atlanta, got my suit on, there
Yeah.
early, ready to go.
Yeah.
He meets me in the lobby, and we sit in just a lobby chair and talk for like 25 minutes, and then I'm out. I'm like, this is going nowhere.
This
That
is
was a
not.
checkbox for him. Oh my God, yeah. Didn't even get to get in the
Yeah.
elevator.
Oh,
So,
yeah. That's not a good sign. I've had those
yeah,
realizations too, where you're like, oh, wait a minute. Once a year, you need a competitive quote, and it's about that time. That's why we're talking.
well, you
Yeah.
did. I want to back up for a second. You mentioned something about being a nerd and what you studied in college. I'm not
Yeah.
even sure what that is.
Yeah.
Device what? or device
Device physics.
mechanics,
It's
device
like
physics.
the yeah, it's like the physics around the like physical processes to manufacture semiconductors.
Oh
So
boy,
like a computer, like how
yeah.
do you treat the wafers, and how does that affect the performance of the chips, and how do
Yeah.
you manufacture a chip?
Okay. And so what's going on with NVIDIA
Oh my
is
God.
that guy, this guy was working on like high graphics gaming chips for what, decades. And then all of a sudden
Yeah.
that very thing he's working on is what we need for
He hit
AI.
the
Is that
jackpot.
kind of what happened?
I mean,
Jackpot.
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not an expert in all of this, but boy, it is like an interesting circle that they've got deals amongst each other about buying chips for and getting funding. So
Yeah.
I don't know. So a lot of the US economy is tied right now to AI. Hope it works.
Yeah.
Hope
Yeah. Yeah.
it-
I'm doing a lot with it. I'm doing open claw. I've got someone helping me, and I'm seeing little nuggets that actually work, where it's actually helping my business.
Mhm.
But it's not everything, and it's hard. It's like a car that you like that you have to fix all the time. There's always something wrong with it because it's
Yeah.
not easy yet. But
Yeah, it's like a
are you
bad classic car that's fast.
right? Hope
Yeah.
it's not a DeSoto.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
that is a lot of people's experience. And actually, we are using that exact sentiment that you have right now. I'm using to sell software. So that's
okay.
a really common, I mean, uh, a really common like mass market feeling that's happening right now. There's two, I would say, that are happening. One that's kind of now going down, and the next is coming up. And that is people are starting to use some of these tools like ChatGPT and
Yeah.
Claude or Copilot, and like nothing massive happened for them. Their business is not more valuable. Their margins didn't change. They just have more stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a really common experience, and currently that's a really big emotional demand trigger. If you mention this, people are like, yeah, I hate that. I will do something about this. They want to, they don't like that. And I think the next thing that's happening around AI that we're seeing is a lot of companies have been pushed, sometimes with board pressure, to implement AI, and it didn't make money. It lost money. It didn't work, and so now there's another like trigger going on right now, which is I would really like proven ROI on something with
Mm-hmm.
around AI.
Right.
Like, can somebody
Right.
promise me this will work this time, or back it up, or
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I think the market is
So
looking for that
in
now.
your case, you could talk to somebody who has been spending X amount of money per month investing in AI and getting no return or very little return, and say, listen, why don't we take that money and put it in my program, which is investing in mostly paid advertisement, right?
Oh
To
yeah,
get
like what
you,
do I do?
yeah,
Yeah, well, it depends because not every business needs paid ads. Like you have to have a lot of things set up, and 70% of small business owners, like people between that $2 and $10 million a year revenue range, 70% of them who start with paid ads fail in one quarter and never come back. So that's
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 me.
like just what
That's
happened.
me. Yeah.
That's you. Okay, yeah, that's
Yeah.
very common, and so it's not there's a lot of things you need to line up first before before you get started, and it's also not appropriate for everyone. But I think the main thing that gets people is that there's a huge difference between like marketing and advertising. And when people jump into paid ads, they're advertising. They're like, I want to push my message out there. I'm willing to pay money to do that. And the
Right.
problem is they're not marketing, which is they're
Yeah.
not like connecting the right offer that's going to have like a immediate response that they can connect to revenue in the short term. It's more like, well, now more people know about this, and like next year, that's going to be really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
And a lot of
Yeah.
people can't wait it out for the standard like let's just advertise approach,
Right.
because that take a long
Right.
time to see that money come back.
Well, since I'm one of those people who tried it, I mean, I
Yeah.
literally called the Google ad people and started a conversation. It's like, going like the lamb going to the wolves. But
Yeah,
It did
yeah,
not work, and plus,
yeah,
I have a short attention span, so I'm like I didn't have
yeah,
the time to figure it out. So,
yes,
what's the difference? Give us the general difference with how you approach it and make it easy for an entrepreneur to take that money and quickly
yeah.
turn it into more money.
Yes. Okay. So I'm so glad you asked my favorite topic of all time. So, well, first of all, we have to look at like who you're trying to sell to, and if there aren't in the tens of thousands, if the number of potential prospects and companies aren't in the tens of thousands at least, then it's very hard to make it work. Um, there are specific techniques for that. That usually means, well, these are super niche or it's enterprise, and there's very specific specialty techniques you can use there. None of them are super easy. They do work. I'm not going to talk about those because those are so specific. Hopefully, you have more than 10,000 possible customers in whatever you're doing. Um, and then the next thing is you have to have the cash flow to see the operation through. So if you're going to advertise, if you do the estimations and run the numbers for a standard funnel that is direct response, get a interested buyer on the phone kind of funnel. Um, let's say you're spending 5,000 a month. You need to be able to do that for 3 or 4 months before you really know what's going on, because the average B2B deal is like 3 months, and you want to know, did it actually, like, who's buying what? You have to give yourself a chance to see that. So if you
Yeah.
don't have the cash flow, or if that feels like a stressful thing to do, you're not ready to do it. You need to have the cash flow. So that would be just like starting preconditions. And then usually, like, whatever you did to grow with relationship-based sales, that's not the right move. Of course, you should keep doing that. That operation, that business function should not ever stop. It's important it got you
Right.
here. You shouldn't stop doing it. It's like maintaining this floor, but it has a growth rate ceiling. You can only make so many relationships, and there's only so many like big dogs that are ready to play at any given time, right? So
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
it's a slow game, and it's big rewards but slow. So if you want to speed up, the trick is to do something different, do something totally different that is easy. That's the move, is to skip the hard problem. So yeah, there's just market size limits. So there's a bunch of things you would try to do to shorten the sales cycle and to find more buyers and to solve cash flow. So if you solve market size, cash flow, if you solve these problems, then you can scale really quickly. And so the way you do that is kind of straightforward. The first thing is you make a foot in the door offer instead of your main thing. So a lot of companies, maybe they sell something, it's 150K to like $2 million, sold through relationships. Like, hopefully you find an enterprise and they want the 1 year solution, right? And that's going to be a few million. Or there's like a
Right.
little quarter project or something. Those take a long time. And an easy way to shorten the sales cycle is just require less approvals. Like, make it easy so that whoever it is you're dealing with can just sign off and, like, let's see if it works. And then now you're a
Yeah.
customer and not a non-approved vendor or whatever. So
Yeah.
that's like the first thing, is make it cheaper. Do something, a
Yeah.
tiny bite-sized thing we can knock
Right.
their socks off. And your whole goal is to not lose money. If you change your perspective, like the first sale is acquiring the customer at a tiny profit, if that's your goal, then you can make money on the upsell. It's a lot easier than trying to go right
Okay.
for the jugular. So that would be like the very first thing, foot in the door.
Right.
The second thing is, it's like switching your point of view and your language. So if your point of view is internal, like you just like, here's what we sell. I would like to sell this service to you. Um, that is, and then you use your own language, like, I'm the expert, this is what we call it. That is so much harder than, I'm going to go look at what these people want to buy today and what do they call that thing. And if you just sell them the thing they this is like, sounds like I'm joking, but if you sell people the thing they want to buy or they are buying, the risk goes way down because they're actively buying, that there's active market demand. So instead of saying like, we are going to sell you, let's start advertising this one custom product feature and get some people on the phone who want this specific module. It's going to save them a lot of money. And we'll do this intro package for this module. You find this really core business thing they're looking for. Like, they're looking to improve their margins. And we know that when customers install this, typically they can actually improve that business unit's margins by like 10%. It's so easy to sell people 10% margin lift. Like, that's way easier than this specific complex module will improve your warehouse.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and so these are the kind of the basic things that you can do. Um, because when in marketing, it's sort of, I know a lot of people want like this idea of blue oceans, but marketers love red oceans because in a blue ocean, you don't see all the dead people. You don't see all the people who lost money, went on a business, spent hundreds of thousands and couldn't keep going with those ideas that look like they're fresh. No one's doing it.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
like to look at like, look, someone has been running this ad for a year. Pretty sure this is a good idea. And that's kind of where we want to start is proven demand so that you don't have to waste your ad spend testing and learning.
So give me an example of that.
Okay. How about you? Well, start me off. Give me let's think of a product or something. We can go from there.
Okay, I'll give you
Do
one.
an,
I've
do
got
an
a
example.
company
Yeah.
called Sequence Software,
Uh-huh.
and we just bought them like 5 months ago, and they make a product that people use to create specific lists that people use as they manufacture products. And the list is you can put videos in there, you can put photos, you can have them check mark as they do it, but it's
Mm-hmm.
really
So
for
it's like
highly
SOPs.
regulated, yeah, highly
Yeah.
regulated industries that have to have proof that they're following a specific sequence.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So if I wanted to, okay, assuming there's at least 10K buyers and so forth, I would try to look at what is the ultimate consequence, the ultimate outcome, negative outcome of not having this solution that
Okay.
they know about. So it's not a feature. It's like
Well,
recalls,
it's really true.
compliance.
You're hitting it right on the head. They're the reason they buy, the ones I've talked to, they'll say it's because the compliance guy told us to, or
Yeah,
because the regulator came by and said you've got 1 year to fix this. You have to have this thing tracked. Otherwise,
yeah,
they would never do it because they don't really care that much, about being perfect about that. So
yeah.
it's you're on it already.
Great. Yeah, that's where I would go. And so maybe there's some angles around that, like I don't know what this type of regulator is, but like, did you get called? Did this guy give you a call, or did you lose? Did you get written up about this thing? That might be
Yeah,
an actual thing to run. Like, if you got written up about this, we can get you compliant in 30 days, or you
yeah,
don't pay, or something like that. Or
yeah,
something where you also at least minimize the risk of taking action on getting on the phone with a total stranger. Something where
yeah.
it's like, we are so confident that this works that if it doesn't work, I don't want your money.
Right, right.
This is what we do. Like
That's
that's what I
good.
do in the marketing space as well. Like if we whiff for a client, we give them all the money back.
Okay. Well, that's good. I like most people like that. I mean, most people we were talking about earlier. Most people like I want to do something. I think it makes sense, but I just don't want to make a mistake. So how could we take the mistake away? How can we make it an easy
Yeah.
bet?
Yes.
Is it same thing you're talking about?
Same thing I'm talking about. And then when you look at the different ways that customers come in to a company, those referrals, networks, events, those are usually the starting points, conferences, golf, all that stuff. But then a lot of people focus on like search marketing, which is fine, and your website, all those things. But the people that come in through those funnels, through search marketing or through your website, they're this interesting tiny subset of the world's most motivated prospects. Like, not everyone is like that. Not everyone is saying like, "Gosh, I better compare you versus XYZ Corp and PDQ had this
Right.
feature." I had an uncle like that. I'm thinking of him right now. He would do that, but not everyone does that. And so the interesting thing is, you don't have to solve all those problems when you're running a specific marketing campaign. You can just ignore all that other stuff, ignore the competitors, ignore your own brand, ignore the name of your product, and just say, "Do you have this giant pain? Do you want this outcome?" People will book a call for that with like B2B businesses will get on the phone for those kinds of ads with no
Yeah.
brand, no context.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just like get compliant, or we'll get you
yeah.
compliant, or we'll do a compliance audit or something.
Hmm.
But it's funny, I called a couple of customers right after we bought the company and asked them why they did it. And of course, I'd been told people do it because they want to get organized and it's good for the workers. And
Yeah.
they said,
No.
well, the regulators made us do Well, that's a good point. Now, let me ask you this: the people I know kind of how you do it, but our viewers don't. Once you figure all that out for a client, then
Mhm.
what? What do you do with? How much
Yeah.
money do you need, and what do you do with it to get them the money back?
Yes. Okay. This is a good question. There's a few things that we do in order, and I think I forget who gave me this advice. Someone told me in business, like you better solve their whole problem, and I'm starting to learn what that means. Which is like if you take a company, you help them get new leads, um, and you stop there, they almost always fail because you need a different sales motion for colder audiences.
Okay.
So typically, what we do after we set up these systems, optimize them, improve them is okay. Now we're going to work on your discovery call process for
Right.
colder audiences, and now we're going to work on a
Yeah.
sales process for colder audiences. And then once all that works, the next thing we work on, and this we do this like once we have enough trust from the owners, we work on the pricing and the cash because
Okay.
a lot of these things you're looking at the payback period. And if your payback period is over 30 days, if you want to scale your growth, you're going underwater. You're losing money, and you're going to hit a point where you can't do it anymore. And so the trick, the trick, I don't know if it's a trick, but you would really love it if each customer bought you a new customer right away.
Yeah.
And that's what we try to do. We try to organize the offer itself to have the right unit economics that once that person buys that easy front end offer, they've paid for themselves plus one customer. And now we don't
Okay.
need to go get funding anymore. We can just scale.
Yeah.
And I have some customers were at that stage, and I'm like really working on the owners like, hey, we could like let's just consider charging them on day one instead of day 60. Like I'm pretty sure we could grow faster if we had some
Yeah.
funding. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. So in a perfect world, we're spending, we'll say, $1,000 a month on whatever ads and approach you tell us to, and that's
Hmm.
bringing in $2,000 a month in sales or cash receipts. And so now we kind of have the funding for month two and beyond as that repeats itself.
Yeah, just like that, but just multiply everything by five. So usually for B2B, you're starting at least 5K a month to get enough
Okay.
meetings that you could expect one sale a month at least. So
Okay.
I'm just assuming like a lot of these funnels, depending on how rare of a customer you're going after, the cost of a customer is almost always somewhere between 2,000 and 6,000, unless you're going into really hard to reach people that are, I guess, fancier for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
So that means it also fixes your pricing. If you sell something for 10 or 15 at the entry level, they're easy to say yes at that business level, and then they just bought two customers.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
or they cover delivery and buy one more customer. And then all the real money for the business, the major profit comes on upsell one.
Okay.
And and then that's another thing that we get help a lot of people with. People will buy upsells at the point of maximum deprivation. This is I stole this line, but I love it. It's so true. So like if you knock it out of the park and get someone the result they're looking for, and then the next day ask them for the upsell, that's the worst time. They don't have the problem anymore. So, so that
That's a
so
good
the key
point.
the key is to get their trust before you've completed solving the entirety of the problem and get them into upsell.
Okay. Okay. So how would that look if we're talking back about let's say the sequence, the compliance people,
Yeah,
and we sold them a $10,000 project to get them compliant, and then after that it's going to be a subscription. That's kind of how I
yeah,
would see that working.
yeah.
But we're not quite finished the project. And is that when you say you would go in there and try to talk about phase two?
I don't know what other, like, I'm not an expert in compliance solutions. So I don't know what other things you might sell, but if you have an audit and then the software is sort of the continuity piece, maybe there is another project to get something applied. I don't know what else they need,
Yeah.
but it's sort of like this. I'm sure you know this already, but business is like problem solution over and over forever, right? So whatever you
Yeah.
solved must have created a new problem.
Yeah.
Now we're compliant. Oh crap, there's a new problem now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what happens then?
Yeah, well, that's a good point. That's a good point. Well, that's a good point. Do you want to have that discussion before everything's done and everything's rosy because
Yes.
they don't have
Yeah.
the problem? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and a lot of people, it's actually funny. A lot of people hire me. A lot of my our agency clients come through like fractional work. So someone will hire me to like oversee all their. They have like, oh, I have four teams doing. I have an outbound team. I have a search
Yeah.
team, a meta team, a LinkedIn's ads team, and I don't know what they're doing. Can you please sort it out? So I come in a lot of companies like this, and very often we come up with a more involved engagement within like the first 2 weeks,
Hmm.
because at that point they're like, oh, this person is serious. I believe what they're saying. I would like them to help me with all these problems I now better understand. We haven't solved anything yet,
Yeah.
and that's
Right.
why it's the easiest time to do an upsell.
Right. Okay. I got it. And when you take on a client, I mean, I love the idea of minimal risk up front, and all of a sudden it's paying for itself. And then in my case, or most people's cases, it would lead to a long-term subscription. So it's
Yeah,
wonderful. You're kind of like getting paid for creating these long-term annuities. How often does it work? Where you really start to pay for itself because it can't work all the time. But what's the
yeah,
percentage of win on that?
yeah. Yes. Well, that's part of my game too. I figured this out a while ago that it's just better to have the best customers possible. So we do turn people away. And I
Okay.
like this idea about sharing the risk. I'm not going to take crazy bets. I just don't have time for that. So if it's a
Right.
really odd or unproven market, or there's a lot of risk, or it's a startup, usually that's not a good fit for these kind of super shared risk deals because who knows? I don't
Right.
want to be the
Right.
person. I'm not
Right.
there. That's the entrepreneur's risk, not mine.
Yeah.
Um, but so yeah, we have a really high success rate with these specific conditions. So there's like I have this perfect fit customer conditions that I'm always looking for, and it's something like we want to have a reasonable number of people that can buy. Mid-market to enterprise, not enterprise only. That gives you so many more chances to win, especially with paid, because there's more people.
Yeah.
So that lowers the risk. And then the other thing is we want them to have a good, healthy 1 year average contract value. So at least 30K would be nice for the typical contract at the
Hmm.
minimum. Um, and these are all just conditions that make it easy to win, right?
Yeah.
And then we want to have at least 10,000 target customers that exist in the world, but the more the better. So if there's 50 or 100,000, it's starting to become like
Yeah.
way easier. Um, and so those are the areas that we look for. And then the rest of it is like, really diving into, okay, do I see a way we could do this? Like, do I see
Yeah.
a kind of like pattern matching to, okay, it's very similar to another campaign or another company, just a little different.
Yeah.
And so that cuts the risk.
Okay. So if someone passed muster, like if it was all of those things and they had a first year contract at let's say 30,000, minimum
Yeah.
30,000, which
Yeah.
would mean at 5,000 a month, that'd be 60,000. So they have to sell two to not lose money. Is that the
Yeah.
idea? Okay.
Yeah. And
And
that's what I
if
mean,
that,
that's also why I have to jump in with sales too and make sure the sales is on point because otherwise no one's happy.
right.
Um, yeah, that's exactly right. And I think the other thing is sort of an attitude thing, which is, and you learn this from, well, how do I put this? There's also like an attitude that I'm looking for from a founder. It's like an ideal and like okay, and then like not acceptable in terms of a certain kind of mindset. And out there in the world, there's people who are like, everything doesn't work for me, prove it. And those people, they're more work to get them to win. If you do get them to win, they make great case studies and they're very vocal about it. That's amazing.
Yeah.
But it's harder to make them to get them success because of that attitude. The ideal is on the other extreme. There's people out there who say, you know what? There's no reason why should be impossible. Like I'm going to
Yeah.
do this, and I'd love your help. Those
Yeah.
people, they're going to win anyway. So I'm just
Yeah.
helping them get there faster.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's similar in terms of ROI to when people ask me to help them improve their sales teams.
Hmm.
Is I say this is what it's going to cost you for a year, and you got to be making the bet that we're going to improve the team by a lot more than that. And if we don't, then it didn't work out. And but I can't. I mean, the only time it doesn't work out in my case is when
Hmm.
there's I would call it the not good fit founder or owner, where
Hmm.
they're not supporting what you're doing with the team. And so anyway, sometimes it doesn't work out because of that reason. There's nothing you can do. But like you said, you can do something on the front end and not take them on as a client, which is pretty smart. And then
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
terms of ads,
Yeah.
are you primarily like picking? Is it Facebook, Google? What do you typically use?
Yeah. So I mean, when I'm coming in like as fractional CRO, we just look with whatever they're doing. So we've done like everything under the sun. But my favorite for high intent, high end B2B business, book a call, like get them on the phone for your sales team, those kinds of ads. I like Meta because after like hundreds of thousands of ad spend, we find it's this you can get the same people, or most of the same people are there. There's like 8 billion people, or I don't know what on Meta.
Yeah,
So there's a good chunk of your audience is there. Maybe not all of them, but enough. You're never
yeah,
going to saturate it unless you're a huge company. Um,
yeah.
and I'm competing against people trying to sell you a watch or shoes, when I'm
Uh
going
huh.
for business deals. Whereas
Yeah,
LinkedIn, it's
yeah.
way harder. So it's more expensive on LinkedIn. You can do all the same tactics on LinkedIn.
Hmm.
They just cost more. So that's why we like Meta.
Okay. Well, that's cool. That's cool. They, they they continue to build, and I still use it all the time. It's a good way to stay in touch with people. And
Hmm.
I'm trying to think. When
And
do I
Instagram.
Instagram? Yeah, Instagram. Yeah, that's good. Okay. And so you're to be a fractional CRO, it's fractional chief revenue officer.
Yeah.
What size team slash sales team are you looking for, minimum to maximum?
I'm trying to do that as little as possible.
Okay.
So it's sort of like last resort. I try to do that as little as possible because of all the ways that the business generates revenue, that's probably the least profitable. It's the
Right.
most unscalable, complicated
Yeah.
thing. Like, okay, I'm going to dive
Yeah.
in. I'll meet every vendor, every sales team, every sales manager.
Right. Right.
So I don't really want to do that, but some people, I want to work with them, and that's what they need. So in some cases, we make it happen. So the
So
ideal is
generally
not
speaking,
doing
I
that.
took a crazy Ivan there. You mentioned it once or twice. I thought maybe you were doing that because I thought your primary business was just this helping
Yeah, it's
people,
just the
with
agency.
the
Yeah,
scaling. Okay.
that's
Okay.
right. Yeah, it's just a little thing that gives me more perspective into some of these companies when I go in and dive through the whole org and see what's going on.
And then in terms of like if you say okay, everything they got 20,000 TAM, all these different
Yeah.
things. How many sales reps would be a minimum you would need to process and sell these things?
Yeah. Okay. This is great. Great question. So the way you do it's all tied to cash flow. And if you solve that cash flow problem in the first place, like how many can you book?
Yeah.
But the way it works is for almost across all industries, the cost for running ads to book a B2B high-end sales call is somewhere between 250 and $500.
Okay.
So let's just take bad numbers to make the math easier. So let's say it's $500 and half the people don't show up. So that means it's like, okay, you want to do 8 hours. If you want to fill 8 hours of a guy's calendar or gal's calendar, that's $8,000.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
there you go. And that's why you want the cash flow solved right there. Because
Right.
if that all
Right.
pays back right away, you don't, there's no limit. But if
Right.
you have a 2 month
So
payback, then you're like, okay, how do I balance capacity?
depending on what the size of the spend was, that's going to lead to a certain number of leads. So it could be one sales rep, one good sales rep, two good
Yeah,
sales rep. It doesn't have to be a ton.
that's right.
Okay. Okay. Is there anything about marketing today that people believe that's not true? Any wives' tale?
Yeah, sure. So many things. So many things. Um, I think one of those strange things about business is there's all these ways to succeed and all these things that are true at some other time. And they're not true for you at your business stage right now. And so they're really
Right.
bad. They're great, but like you should never do them. You know,
Right. Right.
and there's so much like that. Like a lot of what really successful, well-known mega big companies do is a terrible idea if you're below $100 million.
Right.
Um, for example, a lot of people talk about branding. It's a popular idea, plays into people's ego. They're like, yeah, personal brand. And we know, I know how much it costs to get someone famous. It costs about $50,000 in advertising. So if you spend, or sorry, 50 million, sorry, 50 million. If you spend about 50 million, you can make sure most people will at least have seen you and know about you.
Right.
You have
Right.
to have such a huge engine where that's going to be worth the money. And so
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just not like branding is great, but it's not for most companies. It's not, your brand is
Right.
not the thing that you should be doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
It's
can
really
directly
more.
just go after pains in the market
Yeah.
without a brand, and people want to talk
Right.
about solving those. It doesn't depend on your
Right.
brand.
Right. Yeah. I tell people all the time that the whole game is like, like you said, finding people that are in our market space, having a conversation, finding out do they really have a problem, and then really working to get that problem out of them because they won't just come out and
Yeah.
tell you, right? You got to really work, and you're really good at that. And then once you figure that out, once you get them, they'll buy. They'll close themselves because they want the
Yeah.
solution that you have found. And you don't have to be Gary V to do that.
Yeah.
Although I'm sure he could do it. He could do it. That's a
Yeah.
good one.
Done it a couple times.
That's a good one.
Yeah. What else? I think maybe yeah, there's the branding thing. I had one other thought, but it's just evaporated.
Well,
Write this
I'll
down.
give you one while you think. Is we
Sure.
we want we hired local people from great schools around here, nice young men and women, trained to be salespeople. They all did great, and some of them have gone to crush it. But there was one
Hmm.
time where I decided we have to get better. We have to do better than that. We're going to go get some really good salespeople. And so
Hmm.
Dell had a layoff out in Austin. And so I was like, we're going to go get those people. And so we
Yeah.
went out to Austin and we recruited and we got them and we moved them to Greenville. These Dell people. And they were some of the worst excuses for salespeople I've ever seen in my life. Because what did they do at Dell? You sit there and the phone
Take
rings and you
orders.
find
Yeah.
out what configuration of computer they want and then you hit the button. I mean, they weren't
Yeah.
selling.
Yeah.
So people who have the big logo, Oracle. I worked at Oracle. Well, of course you sold a bunch. You were, hell, half
Yeah.
the world buys Oracle.
Yeah.
So I think the
Yeah.
big logo is another a big thing people misunderstand.
Yeah. I think that's a really good point. I had that other idea and it evaporated a second time. Like doesn't want to come out. This idea. What
Well, that's
was
all
it?
right. That's all right. Well, one thing I want to let's see. I want to close with, unless you think of this
Hmm.
magical idea, is
Yeah.
tell people that want to explore this with you. That people that
Yeah.
might want to, for example, have rapid product growth. Those kind
There
of
you
people. How would they contact you, and what would that look like?
Yeah, I mean, easiest way, just DM me on Instagram or DM me on LinkedIn, or go to rapidproductgrowth.com and apply to work with us. And what we are looking for is companies in that $2 to $10 million a year range, already established at that range. And we're looking for people that are trying to double. So if you're trying to double your business this year in that size, we can do it as long as you meet all those criteria we talked about earlier.
Right,
And
right,
what I like to do, because I always like to leave people and things better than I found them. So what we try to do is, we'll go through with you and look really in depth at the business, and whether or not we work together or not, we'll show you here's what we would do, so you could do it on your own if you want to, or we can help you get there faster.
Okay, good. Well, I like what you do. You're a pleasure to talk with, and talking
Likewise.
about all these fun subjects. So if anyone's interested, I highly recommend they talk to you about this. And I think that's I teach sales, but our big thing in sales is always, we need the leads.
Yeah.
We need the
Yeah.
good leads.
Yes.
And
Should join
so
forces.
I think you can help. Right, you can help people get the good leads. So anyway, thank you very much for being with us, and maybe we'll come on in a year and kind of do an update on what's going on in the ad world.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Thanks, John.
Okay.
Pleasure.
All right, thank you. All right, bye-bye.